Welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show, brought to you by the Institute of Clinical Excellence. My name is Dr. Jeff Musgrave, Doctor of Physical Therapy. Super excited to hop on today and share some of the things that I feel like are missing in the marketplace for older adults. Some things that you can use to really set yourself apart out in the competitive market. So I think it's pretty clear if you're listening to this podcast, you know that a fitness forward approach is paramount. The reality is, we live in an information age that is accelerating rapidly. We've got AI services that make it incredibly easy to find information. I think it's very important that we understand that information is not the defining factor between very successful geriatric practice. That's not it. The information's out there, and we love that. We love that the fitness forward approach is catching fire. But if that's not it, if the level has raised in the game, how are you going to keep yourself ahead of the competition? What's going to give you the competitive edge? And I'm going to share with you three things that I think are very important for crushing it in geriatrics. So let's get right into it. So I think empathetic listening is crucial. I think the reality is, because the landscape has changed with AI services, we should be leveraging AI services to make it easier to connect with humans. Empathetic listening is the key. So many times, older adults are cast aside, they're not listened to, they get poor excuses for their problems, like, you're 70, you're 80, you're 90 years old. What do you expect? Of course you have arthritis. Of course you have pain. And people really just shrug off their complaints and how these things are dramatically changing their life. Their life is changing. Their retirement is not what they thought it was going to be. They're seeing their independence robbed. They're seeing their dreams crushed, and people aren't even making eye contact with them. They're not engaging. They're not listening. They're just typing on their computer. They're typing on their tablet. Team, there's no excuse for that anymore. There's so many AI dictation services. Let technology help you connect with humans. The human connection is the biggest missing piece. If you want to protect yourself against AI, you need to learn to connect with humans. You need to work on your soft skills. You need to make eye contact. You need to listen to their stories like you've never heard them before. Man, I've never thought about how much your knee pain is limiting your daily life, how hard that's making it to go get your groceries, how challenging it is for you to get up and down from the floor. That must make life really hard for you. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a challenging way to live versus, yep, yep. Is you're typing, not listening, giving, for lack of a better word, half-ass responses here. That's not human connection, right? All of the time in the medical system, we're staring at our tablets, we're staring at our screen. Pause, listen, stop formulating your questions while your patients are telling you their story. We want to get to symptoms, right? But we've got to save some time for human connection in your evaluation and in all your follow ups. You've got to meet them as a human first. If you ignore those things, you're going to lose trust. I think the reality is, full presence, genuine human connection is rare and unmistakable. That is your competitive advantage. Being a human, asking humans to come see you in person, is to have that connection. I'll be honest, it's possible in virtual training too. Are you making eye contact? They see if you're looking at you or not, or you're looking off the screen. Where is your gaze? What your response sound like? What's your body language? It's really easy as we get busy to get disconnected from the human in front of us, and we must stay connected. If you want to set yourself apart, actively listen. You're going to build trust faster. You're going to uncover things that you would not get to uncover, whether it's problems they're scared to share with other providers, or the real hopes and dreams, the things that you need to uncover to find out what they're willing to suffer, what goal is big enough to suffer for. We've got to have big goals to drive through this deconditioning, through these chronic issues. So I think empathetic listening is really key number one. The second thing we've got to do, and if you've been around, you've heard us talk about this. We feel like our job with geriatrics is to be a hope dealer, but there's another side to that coin. I think if we take that thought too far and we're toxically positive. Everything's positive. Oh, it's not a problem. Oh, that's amazing when it's not really amazing. Or when we paint a picture that's not realistic. Our older adults know it took me decades to get into this shape. Don't sell me um, a bunch of goods and tell me that, oh, this is going to get better in 3 or 4 or 6 weeks. Be honest. They know when you're not being honest. They may not tell you, but they know when you're being honest with them about the work that's going to be required, about the time that's going to be required. The reality is, all of us have a part to play in this continuum, depending on how acute your setting is versus subacute versus like being in an outpatient setting, depends on how much time you're going to have. So don't be ashamed to share the real work that's required to reach that deep, meaningful goal. We want to give patients hope. Oftentimes, they've not been told yet their bone mineral density can get better. Their incontinence issues can get better. Their strength can get better. Their function, they can go on that trip. They can seek that adventure. But what they don't know is the work required. What's it look like to do these things at an intensity that is going to make me better? So share the good news, but be honest. They know when you're not being honest. And how is that conversation going to go when 3 or 4 weeks pass and they're nowhere near their goals, right? You're just delaying busted trust when you're not honest up front. Be honest about what's required. And then if they can't meet those expectations, you can have a recalibration conversation, right? Okay, well, if this is all you can commit on time, this is as hard as you're willing to push, maybe we can still get there, but we're going to have to lengthen out the timeline. So we've got to pair honesty with hope. Honesty and hope. Toxic positivity, blowing smoke will erode trust. That's not what we're asking you to do. But I feel very strongly you will set yourself apart by telling them the truth, being honest about the work ahead, and then making a real plan to get there. Well, if their goals are gonna outlast your plan of care, who are they gonna go to? Who are they going to see? How are they going to do fitness? Is it going to be in the home with YouTube channel? Are they tech savvy enough to do that? Do they need personal training? Do they have the finances and no transportation? Is there an awesome group fitness class close to them with where they've got friends that already go, but they're scared or embarrassed they're going to fall or they're going to look silly? Find out what's really going to work for them. Be honest. Give them just as much honesty as you give hope. But we don't want these things to get flip flopped. I think the third piece that is really going to set you apart, we know that a fitness forward approach and hitting intensity is paramount if these people are going to get their lives changed. But we've got to start at a level that builds some confidence. A lot of times we're working with people who have never exercised or don't have the habit of exercise on board. If we crush them day one, they're sore everywhere. They are unlikely to come back or trust you or to go that hard again. We don't want to lose those opportunities. What we really need to do is whatever we think they're capable of, drop it down just a notch to ensure success, to ensure they don't get so sore that they're rolling around for 3 days in agony, right? If they don't come back, we can't help them. So a little bit of intentional underdosage goes a long way. We start a little bit lower than what we know they can do to build some confidence to have a good experience. We want them to have a good experience with exercise. It is so easy to dial it up, but it is really hard to make a comeback if you've accidentally flared someone up, if you've given them things they really can't do. They're already coming in with low self-confidence and they're just going to be crushed if they can't do what we think. They're going to be like, man, I'm even weaker than I thought and my clinician thought. What a bad experience, right? Do yourself a favor, start just a little bit too easy, have a positive experience, build that therapeutic alliance. We want them to know we're on their team. We're going to pick some meaningful goals based on what they actually want to do that's going to look like some part of that task they actually want to do and make a plan that's reasonable. Team, we've got to meet our patients where they are, but we can't leave them there. That intentional underdosage, don't get stuck there. That is how we build therapeutic alliance, and then we ramp up intensity as their capacity increases. So, team, to recap, listen fully. You want to set yourself apart in this marketplace, connect human to human, make eye contact, fully listen, empathize, then get to the nitty gritty. Be honest about what our patients have to do to be able to reach their goals. Honesty is put together with our hope is very important. We've got to have a healthy dose of honesty of the path ahead alongside of our hope. Share the good news, but also let them know what's going to be required. And then the last piece, start a little bit easier. Make friends, intentionally underdose, but then ramp up to true intensity, and you will watch their capacity and their life change. I really believe if you can harness these three things, you will set yourself apart in the marketplace with geriatrics. If you've got other tips and tricks that you're using in the clinic to set yourself apart, share with us. We want the people listening to this podcast to get the older adults, the people that care, that are spending extra time to learn how to do the best job possible. Share them with us. What are you doing to set yourself apart in the marketplace? Team, if you're looking for a place to get more great content from us, the MMOA podcast is a great place to go. You can go to mmoa.online, get connected to our bi-monthly or bi-weekly newsletter, get podcast episodes, make it easy to keep up in this world. Team, that's what I've got for you. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and we will catch you next time.